Today we're enjoying 3 new hot hatches from Volkswagen, and they're all quite special in their own way. First up is this. It's the Golf GTI Mark 8.5, but it's the special one. This is the Clubsport, slightly harder, faster, better, stronger. It's even got a little wing on the back. Here are some facts and figures about this, the new Golf GTI Mark 8.5 Clubsport. Prices for these start from £42,115. The engine under the bonnet is a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder producing 297 brake horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. In terms of gears, there is no manual gearbox anymore in these. It is just a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, and of course it is front-wheel drive. Performance-wise, you get 5.6 seconds 0 to 60, which is pretty good, and 166 mph top speed. That's if you have the GTI Performance Pack. In terms of economy, 37.6 mpg or 171 grams per kilometre, and the overall weight, 1,459 kilos. And here's what it's like to drive. And we are in and driving, and this is it. This is the GTI Mark 8.5 GTI Clubsport. A lot of things to remember there. And just like the GTI, it's nice. It's a nice place to be. The seats are beautiful and comfortable. This is a very usable, practical, enjoyable car that you can drive every day. But being a GTI, it means it's a little bit more special, a little bit more spicy, a little bit more sporty. And being that it's the Clubsport version, it means it's, well, the dialed up to 11 instead. Should we start by talking about driver modes? Have a look at this. So we have a selection of driver modes to choose from, nice and easy to do so. Hit the mode button down here, and we have Eco, Comfort, Sports, and Individual. I'm going to go into Sport though, because in the Clubsport, and unique to the Clubsport, there is a special setting, Nürburgring. That immediately shifts the sound to be a little bit noisier. It also makes the gearbox a little bit more aggressive. The throttle map is a bit more precise. And when it comes to driving on the fun, tight and twisty stuff, it goes like this. I find it very difficult to find anything to be complacent or moan about when it comes to a GTI, as you're probably aware in the recent video review we did. And in the short time that I've got with this car, well, I feel like it's going to be much of the same. The GTI Clubsport does feel a little bit sharper. It feels a little bit more responsive, and I guess that's mostly thanks to a slightly more aggressive geometry setup. But it also sounds a little bit more exciting as well. There are some synthetic noises plumbed into here, but that is the modern way with a lot of new cars and performance hot hatches especially. So we can't really moan about it because, well, everybody's at it. I'm going to do a quick launch because why not? Oh. It's quite an impressive thing and a lot of fun. We did have, however, a little bit of front wheel slip because, of course, this is a front wheel drive only performance car. So why don't we go and have a go in something that's got a little bit more traction and a little bit more power? And it's a car that I've not yet driven. Let's go and have a go in a Volkswagen Golf R. Looking for a hot hatch with a bit more power? Well, luckily Volkswagen also have us covered with this, the Golf R. More power, a little bit more weight, a very slightly higher price, and, well, a lot of creature comforts. Let me give you some stats. The price of the Golf R starts at £43,895. It also has, like the GTI Clubsport, a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, but this one is pushing out 328 brake horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque. The gearbox is very much the same, the 7-speed DCT, but this one, rather than being front-wheel drive, is all-wheel drive. It even has a drift mode. Performance is also slightly improved. 0 to 60 in this model happens in 4.6 seconds. It has a top speed of 168 miles an hour, and economy-wise, it's even not that bad. You can expect between 33 and 34 mpg, or if you're talking new money, 185 to 193 litres per kilometre. Overall weight, it is a little bit heavier, 1,548 kilos. Welcome aboard the Golf R. It is clearly a lot more luxurious, a bit more comfortable, a bit more refined, and of course, as you probably know, it's a bit more powerful as well, which is quite nice because it means that when you put your foot down, if you want to go fast, you do. And without any of that nonsensical front-wheel drive slip, because of course in here, we've got power going to all four wheels. It still turns in brilliantly, it still feels superb through the corners, through the steering and through the brakes. A bit like the Golf GTI and the GTI Clubsport, except this has just got a bit more poke. And for many people, that might be exactly what you want. It is, however, worth noting that, just like in this exact Golf R, if you are going to add on some options to make it even more special and luxurious and with a bit more gadgets and tech, then things do get quite expensive quite quickly. This exact car, for example, has a price tag with options of £48,000. That's almost 50 grand. 50 grand for a Golf. 50 grand for a hatchback. What do you reckon? Should we have a go at launching it to see how it feels in comparison to the GTI Clubsport? I have a sneaky suspicion it might be quite quick. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the throttle, and go. Ooh, that's 60. Definitely feels considerably quicker than the Clubsport, but without really compromising anything. I feel like if you wanted to go and do lots of track days, the GTI Clubsport is probably going to be the one you'd pick. You'd probably have a little bit more confidence in throwing that around the circuit. But if you wanted to do a track day, still drive very quickly, and then drive home in comfort, and then carry the family around afterwards, then this is probably a better option. It does feel a little bit more refined and comfortable. You can feel a little bit more weight, given that it has got a four-wheel drive system, so with driving power to the rear wheels as well, that's going to add weight to it. Not enough to complain about though. Really quite impressed by this. I like it a lot. But let's say, for example, you wanted another option, a third option. And in the third option, you didn't want to be powered by fossil fuels. Hot hatch EV? Yeah. Let's go and have a go in an ID.3 GTX. And then a third option is this, the ID.3 GTX. Now, okay, admittedly, it's not a GTI or an R, but for now, crucially, for now, this is the best option available. It is, I'm still going to call it, a hot hatch, and it's still quite good fun. Let me give you some stats. So this is the ID.3 GTX, and it has a price tag of £43,000. As you can probably tell, this is electric only, so we have no petrol version of this. The battery capacity is an 84 kilowatt hour, and we have a real world range of 285 miles. Not bad for a small car. Top speed is 112 miles an hour, and the 0 to 62 is 5.9 seconds. Let's go for a drive. Well, this is a quieter experience, isn't it? This is obviously fully electric, as I've just said, and therefore is quiet and refined and smooth. And you'll note that just now I said we don't have a GTI version of this just yet, because there is a very high likelihood that in the not too distant future there will be a car of a very similar size to this with a GTI badge, and it will be fully electric. So watch this space. But that said, this is the GTX, and therefore it does drive quite spiritedly. It's fairly quick. The 0 to 60 is competitive with, even, dare I say it, almost the GTIs we've been driving earlier. And, well, it feels like a hot hatch. drives well. Let's, well, 3 of 3, do a launch. So just like in the GTI Clubsport and the R, we do have driver modes. So as you can see, we've got Eco, fairly self-explanatory. That's going to give us the best possible range, and this also does the regen braking, so you can drive this effectively on one pedal. Comfort mode, which we're in now, or Sport, which is what we want for the most engaging launch. Let's go and find ourselves a straight road. But before we do, it's worth mentioning, the car steers brilliantly. Chassis feels good. It feels genuinely hot hatchback-esque. No complaints so far. Right, come to a stop, in sport mode, foot on the brake, foot on the throttle, go. Not the fastest EV I've driven, but that's 60 and that's fast enough. So perhaps if you're looking for raw power and excitement, you're probably going to be opting for either the Golf R or the GTI Clubsport. Or are you? Which choice would you make out of the 3? Until next time, thanks for watching. Woo!